I just started the recording. So the topic is tilt queuing. When you start losing, you keep losing, right? So basically why that is because you could just be tired while you're playing. You could have an off day where your mechanics aren't on point. You could be tilted where you get upset, you lose, you even if it's something subconscious internal, you are most people in the game, it's not something that's that would be unique to you, is that you're going to start to perform a little bit worse if you've been losing a lot. So a bunch of different factors can come into play where when you start losing, you're probably going to keep losing. Now, that can lead to tilt queuing, where if you keep on playing, then you're just going to keep losing and keep losing, and then that leads to you losing 400 SR in a day or two, right? Like what happened. Now, what things that you can do in this is set limitations on yourself, set breakers, timers in place. So one, it kind of depends on the situation, but I'd say a good rough number to work with is like if you lose 3 games in a row, take a break, right? Go and take a 30-minute break, run around, do whatever, go do something else, get off your computer, that can give you a good mental reset, and then you can come back. If you keep losing, then you're just done for the day, right? You can now, if you want to continue to play Overwatch, feel free. Go play quick play. Go play, casual game mode. You could, if you want to keep playing comp, play on a other role that you don't care about, or even if you want to keep on playing your main role, get an alternate account, and you can play without the risk of losing your main role's SR. And then besides that, really just that's gonna help to make it so that when you lose, you're not going on long lose streaks. When you do average, you're playing, and when you win, you want to keep playing when you're winning, because then you're gonna get your long win streaks but not have long lose streaks. So it really tilts your gameplay towards the long win streaks. It's also probably gonna be a little bit more fun for you when you're not losing constantly for 2 days straight. Does that all make sense? Any questions there?
Yeah, it was like it was really odd. I wasn't. I guess I was a little bit mad, but I was just
Mm,
really confused on why I was playing so bad. And it wasn't
mm,
like I had just come back from playing Apex and it was my, first
mm,
day playing Overwatch in 2 weeks. I had played like a day or two before
mm,
that, and I had actually I had won a few games,
mm.
and it was just really odd. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes when you just start playing bad, you're just having an off day, right? Might not have anything to do with your mental. It might just be that you're just that day you're not on point, and then therefore don't force yourself to continue slamming your head in the comp when you're not on point. And sometimes you can identify that even before the 3 game marker. Like you could be on game 1 or 2 and be like, oh snap, man, my mental's gone, or I'm just not playing well. Take a break, come back, try again, and then if it's not working out, you could even just be done after like 2 games, 3 games. So yeah, that'd be my recommendation. That helps make it so that you are just monitoring your gameplay better, so that you're not dropping 400 SR, which means that you're going to have a little bit more stable of an SR.
All right.
All right. Any other questions before we get started here?
Okay, actually, so one. Um, I was playing a game, I think it was on Blizzard World or something, but there was a hog sitting on the high ground up to the right. We were attacking.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I was the only one on my entire team who wanted to go high ground. And so if I go high ground, there's a hog there. I'm kind of just wasting my time fighting that hog. So I go around and I get a kill on Hanzo, I think, or whatever, and then the hog ends up jumping in the back line and killing
Mm-hmm.
everyone pretty much. And it's kind of a mix between one of those. Like I either try to 1v1 the hog, and he either kills me or just lives so long that my team dies, and then his team comes in and helps him.
Mm-hmm.
Or I go in and I try to get a pick. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, and my team ends up dying anyways. And I I don't know what to do like in
Yeah.
that point because my team will not match him. My team won't go high ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's the point of you can try communicating with your team. Say, even if they don't go high ground to contest him, which you can say like, "Hey guys, let's go high ground, go contest the hog." Even if they don't, making them aware of the fact that he's there can help them be aware of him and prevent him from getting value. So communication can be big there, but communication is not a guarantee, right? It's not going to guarantee that they do things. You can attempt to kill just as much or more than their hog is killing, right? Go into their
Mhm.
back line and do just as much as their hog's doing, and that can help you secure value as their hog's tearing up your back line. And then sometimes it's just not gonna pan out, right? Where like their hog's just going to do really good. Your team's not gonna stop them, and then there's not a lot you can do. Those circumstances are going to happen, and really once you start to get really good, you're going to be able to get to the point where you're able to do what the hog's doing and tear up their back line, right? Basically solo. That's the objective, is to be able to carry like that
Mhm.
in your games, and that's how you're going to be able to climb, is through just doing so much on your own. So for the current moment, just acknowledge that there's going to be some games where the solution is, or the answer is, that you're probably not going to win it. And that's just a reality of playing the game. But as you get better, you're going to have more and more winnable scenarios.
All right.
So, yeah, good.
Okay, sorry, one more that just popped in
Hmm.
my head. So I think a while ago I used to play like on 3.5 sensitivity at 800 DPI, and then I decided once I started playing Tracer, you know what, I'll double it. So I made it 7, and I tried it out, and I really liked it, and I haven't really noticed like a difference on aim between like any heroes, except for soldier. Like my soldier aim is just like it's just really bad. But it's not bad on anything else. Do you think it's okay to have like different sensitivity between certain heroes?
Um, I honestly, that's not something that I've. So I think that there's a lot of people who do. I personally have the same sensitivity across all of my characters. I have a low. I have like 4.5 by 800. So what you could do is either you can look to find a middle ground between them and try to find something that works better for you, or if you want, you could do multiple. Just do know that that would just basically make it so that your muscle memory would basically, like, just think of it like this: if you're having two different sensitivities, your muscle memory has to get used to two completely different forms of aiming. So you might end up, over adjusting or under adjusting if you're not practicing at both of them consistently. So just keep in mind that there's some issues that come along with having multiple sensitivities, that you would just need to practice at them both, and it would probably take more practice. But then they would also allow you to, yeah, have both a higher sensitivity and a lower sensitivity. Honestly, you could take it either way. Um, I might recommend maybe looking to drop it a little bit and see if that's any more comfortable, without, any more comfortable for both of the characters, to make it so that they're even. And then if you can't really find a middle ground, then you can go to the dual senses.
Yeah, I dropped it to like 6, I think, and it seemed to do a little bit better. And I've kind of been trying that out for a little bit, but
Mm,
that was just I just wanted to ask about that. That's all.
mm-hmm. Alrighty. So let's get started then. Same as per usual. It'll just be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about.
Last one there's a rotten egg. I'm under attack.
Okay. If you're coming up on this long flank, probably want to use a couple blinks in that process. It's just going to make it a much faster, get you up here sooner, and allow you to do more sooner. Whereas probably more stuff could have been happening in that time. Okay, let's rewatch this engagement.
Boosting up. Now, where were we? You got what's coming to ya. The Hexer is stuck. This time, stay down. I could use some
Okay.
healing.
Make sure that for make sure that when we kill something and we know that they have Mercy, that we're watching the body, especially when we just saw Mercy walk down right next to it, right? So here we see the beam, we see Mercy, we can hear Mercy, and we turn away and stop paying attention to the body. So you want to make sure that you're being actively aware of her, because when you're not being aware of Mercy, then she gets the free res, and that's basically when you're thinking of kills, right, and whatnot, that's basically you losing like 2 life points, because not only are they getting the res off, but also if you were paying attention, you could also get a kill, right? So
Yeah.
here in this scenario, it would be better for you to ignore the echo and go and kill the Mercy, because that not only stops the Mercy from resing, but it also secures a kill. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 special there. And then your team also can still probably kill the Echo without you, or you can double back for the Echo. And then therefore you get everybody, rather than just killing the Echo and then now the Ashe is back in the fight.
You
Alright.
got what's coming to ya. Dana Hexa is stuck. This time, stay down.
Request healing. Oh, there you go.
Take your medicine.
Thanks, love.
No move.
Wicked.
Step right out.
Anyone else?
Okay. So far, looking pretty good. You're shredding them up.
Who's got the hot hand?
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Yeah. Damage increase. Thanks, love.
Oh, so here, right, look at yourself in proportion to him, right? Notice how we blink here unnecessarily. Why is the blink here unnecessary?
Because I'm behind him, and
Thanks, love.
there's no reason to sort of blink in front of him.
Yeah, that just you exactly got the point right there. We are behind him, and we want to stay behind him because then he can't see us and shoot at us. But we blink in front of him, and then he hooks us, and we're dead, right? So that would have been very easy if we just stayed behind him. And then you can even when you're dueling people, right? You're in 1v1s or even 2v1s or whatever. You want to look to stay behind them or to the side of them by using your blinks. So he turns around, you blink around him again, right? Or you blink behind them or to the side. You want to look to stay on their peripherals and behind, because then they have to adjust to see you, which makes it very difficult for them. Rather than blinking straight into their crosshair and then easy hook, right?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Sorry, I guess I just got like EMP'd there for half a second. I don't know what happened. Like my
Oh.
mouse just froze, my screen froze, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Rush is attacking. All right.
Heroes never die. Oh, no. Where were we?
This is going to hurt.
Okay, nice cleanup kills.
Oh, here you go. Nailed.
Double kill.
I got 3.
Here you go.
Double kill.
Helden sterben nicht.
Buckle up. This gunslinger's loaded.
Back to this scenario. Oh, I guess we do have it. Be careful here, because when we're going in and getting engaging with this pulse, we're actually running really low on abilities, right? So when we're engaging here, we only have 2 blinks and that's it, right? We actually, or 1 blink even, right? We have two blinks, no recall. So here this is essentially a suicide bombing where we're basically guaranteed to die as we're going in. So if Mercy doesn't get that res, then look how far away Card is. I mean, like this is probably at this point not even going to accomplish very much. because then they just get their players back anyways. And we have the same walk back time, roughly speaking. So it's just, yeah, make sure you're being careful about getting too aggro. I think the pulse is okay. It can be. I think you could argue either way really with it, that it could or could not. I think it's like average value, because
Mhm.
you could argue that it's it's in between the fight, but I think it's okay. So we're not gonna go too much into that. Just be careful about going in when you don't have pulse and you don't have blinks to back out with.
Actually,
Mhm.
so here's one. So is it more valuable to like save a pulse for the end of a fight, or if I can, just see a kill, just kind of go for it?
Typically speaking, when it comes to most ultimates in the game, not all, most, ults that are used first get more value than ults that are used second. So therefore, that means that, like, if you have pulse and Tracer has pulse, you go in, or they go in with pulse, they pulse your team, they kill 2 people. Okay, so now your team is already at a disadvantage. You have less healing, you have less support. You go in, they have more people to focus you now. So you pulse, and they have more attention to put into you, more resources than you guys did. And then therefore you go in and you pulse and you only kill one thing and then you die, right? So generally speaking, ults that are used first get more value than ults that are used second, as applied in team fights. And then that means, therefore, you want to be ulting at the start of fights, not before the
Mhm.
fight has begun, at the start of fights. And then mid fight is okay, and late fight is situational. And
Mhm.
then in between fights is very rare. Do you want to be doing it? Here, this is an in between fights, and I think it's okay value because you're staggering them further. But I mean, it could also be argued that it's not like wonderful value. So I mean, but it's also pulse bomb, so it's really not as big of a deal as if it was a different ultimate.
Yeah.
Okay, watch your aggression here. So we're engaging. I think we're going aggro because we see it's on just kind of an alone on a. Maybe without fully taking in the rest of what's going on, because Anna has 4 other people surrounding her, but we see alone Anna, so we're getting a little bit aggro. But we get like really aggro on Anna kind of instantly here, and then we're pretty much immediately forced to recall and get out. Uh, that gets a little bit into kind of like her play style as an opportunist. We went over that last time, right? When we went over Tracer.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what is that? What does Tracer's playstyle as an opportunist mean?
So pretty much you're playing passively and poking until you see an opportunity, like a pulse bomb or someone's low HP or a one clip or something like that. I don't know. Stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yep. Someone's low. Someone's out of position. You got pulse bomb, right? You have a good opportunity to go in. Yep. You pretty much got it right. And here we're getting really aggro off of a situation where maybe we shouldn't be going as aggro. And then that kind of gets into like aggression scaling as well, which we also went over last time.
Yeah.
So just watching, because then that just means that we're immediately forced to use our ability and get out, and then we didn't really accomplish a ton. Okay. Here, I think we're maybe running away from Mercy or something. I don't know if we need to do like a full back into this room to get behind the Roadhog and get back to our team. We could have possibly just stayed on high grounds and maybe looked to duel the Mercy if she's getting in that close to us, even while she's Valking. And then that puts us just in a better position to work with, because right now we're like we're not really going to be able to do a ton from this current position.
Yeah.
So that's
All
an
right.
option there.
Do something! Wicked! Oh,
It's high time.
Deine Hexe ist da.
All right, so still working on that. Those blink pulses. All right, we blink in. Let's watch it. Did we do an overflick? Really, was what
Yeah.
happens there.
Group up.
Oh, we still need you.
We're leaving the weather.
Okay, I like that we have good target priority here. We're going and playing on their back line rather than sitting staring at the nanoed hog. That's good. Oh, whoopsie, got stuck here. Okay, nice recall.
Actually, I have a question.
Yep.
So for a sleep like that, was that like bad movement, or was that just like a ML7 sleep?
The issue was that we blink in with the melee when she wasn't 1 HP. If
Yeah.
she's 1 HP here, then she dies.
Mhm.
If she's not, like when it comes to melees, the majority of the time when you're meleeing, it's either A, because you're out of ammo, or B, because you are finishing them off. Here, and then typically if you're out of ammo and you're doing it, you need to have an ability to get away with. Here we do it, and I don't think we have any abilities, right? So watch, or I guess we just, I guess we blink in straight into her, right? And just keep in mind that when you're getting within that close of a range, the sleep's gonna be easier than when you're standing back at your 10 meter radius, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be much easier when you're up in her face for her to be able to land that. So it's not that insane of a sleep in comparison to a more ranged sleep, and you
Mhm.
weren't necessarily in the middle of a blink when she did it. So the main thing I would say here is that we are attempting to melee when she's not gonna be finished by it, and then therefore we kind of step into her easier sleep.
All right.
Ever get that feeling of deja vu? Yeah!
Now, hold on. Hold on. Bad guy.
Okay. Now, I didn't even really I didn't even really see too much the fact that your team died while you were doing it. But if we were watching kill feed there, our whole team was dead. So there, us and McCree kind of staggered ourselves a little bit because those kills don't even do anything. They don't even matter because they just get all their players back anyways by the time the fight starts.
Mhm.
So just gotta watch the stagger.
Draw.
Let me get you patched up.
Right now our team's staggering. Tanks are going mid. Nobody else is mid.
Heal up. 60 seconds remaining.
Someone get that payload moving.
Let's get you back out there.
Healing up.
Step right up.
Heroes never die.
Going me.
Watch your health bar. Request healing. Right now we're like 94 HP and we're not requesting anything. So ball comes in, he slams us, and we're dead. Right. That's
Yeah.
preventable if we press the button.
10 seconds
No one
remaining.
else is gonna do it for us. Attack!
Overtime.
Okay. Maybe a little bit slow of a rotation to be going for because we maybe could have done it like as soon as we came out of spawn rather than doing this long wraparound to go
Yeah.
for. Besides that, as you're coming up here, you can maybe glance around and see like is Ash looking at me. Once she starts shooting at you, get behind cover, drop behind cover, crouch, drop a pack, stuff like that. Besides that, it's kind of unlucky because she just lands the headshots. Let's watch a little bit of this movement. I'm noticing maybe sometimes we're wasting blinks, I believe, or kind of our movement's a little bit wacky. So here, we're chasing after the Mercy. We see McCree. We blink around because we're trying to get away from McCree, and I think that's fine. Then we end up walking backwards. So that ends up, because we kind of walk backwards there, that kind of ends up wasting an extra blink. So I think we kind of made a bad decision. Then we immediately doubled back and away from it. Okay, we start shooting at Mercy. We blink, but we stop looking at Mercy here, right? So we blink in, but we end up looking away from Mercy back to the McCree. So then that blink ends up kind of getting wasted. And then we blink here into the wall, and then we have to recall. Okay, so there we maybe were a little bit indecisive because it looks like we come in, we're looking at Mercy, we blink away from McCree, and then we're like, do I look at McCree? No. And then we go after Mercy, and then we blink after, and then we immediately swap back to the McCree. So we're a little bit indecisive about who we're shooting at there, and then that leads to just a little bit of blink usage wastage and whatnot. So very more minor things there, nothing incredibly big. Okay. So here, we're getting really aggressive. Probably not the play to be making as of the moment. Okay, so what this right here means when we're going this far deep, right? Right now, us three are basically 3v6ing as of the moment. Because look at where the rest of our team is. So if their team was a little bit more coordinated, for some reason their tanks aren't even looking at you guys yet, you guys should probably be dead. Okay, so firstly, this is very, very risky. We're pushing way too far forwards. Try not to push in that aggressive. That's going to get you killed. Secondly, we probably right now want to be kind of setting up for the next fight, being in a good position. Being in a good position, like already being set up in a good position, right? What would be a being in a bad position look like for the start of the fight? Or more like an average position. What would an average or bad position be if the fight is starting?
Low ground.
Low ground, maybe on point, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of sitting down main. So we probably want. I think you said high grounds. High grounds gives us an off angle on them, right? So that would probably be where we want to be setting up and maybe like doing a wraparound and coming up here with these guys. That could honestly be pretty decent because then what this is, if we go with these guys, then it's kind of like an isolated fight in this room and it's like a 3v2, right? But us being here, I guess more accurately, it's a 2v2 up here. And then we're kind of 1v2 to 4ing ish. If these guys turn around, it's a 1v4.
Yeah.
So going and taking high ground probably be the better play here rather than trying to go long low. So in between fights, just make sure looking to take the best positioning possible and whatnot. Because then we kind of are forced back main, and then we're in bad positioning for the start of the fight here.
Helden sterben nicht. Bombs away.
Okay. Looks like maybe a little bit of a rushed pulse. We blink over. We mess up our blink because look how far away we end up from him. It looks like we press W and D with it. So working on those blink mechanics. Yeah, working on the blink mechanics. We also once again when we go for it, it looks like we're flicking with it, right? Where we go, what's right? Look at our camera, right? Look at our tracking when we're shooting at people normally. Tracking, shooting, tracking, and then we go for the pulse bomb and we go bam, right? And our crosshair looks like that.
Yeah.
Flicking is needed flicking should be used when flicking is needed, not when it's not needed. In flicking as instances where it is, in instances where it's not. Now, generally on Tracer, you don't really flick with your crosshair a ton because you're doing a lot more tracking with your crosshair, but you can flick. So flicking is necessary when there's a fast-moving target. So Tracer's blinking all around you, gotta flick to keep up with her. right? You have somebody who sneaks up behind you, gotta flick around, do a quick 360, or sorry, 180 to catch up with the person. Your flicking is where your crosshair's moving somewhere very, very fast. You can also flick if you're looking this way and McCree pops up on the corner of your screen, so you have to flick over to McCree. But once you're on top of somebody, you do not need to flick your crosshair because you're already on top of them with your crosshair or already near them. You just want to, like here, there'd be no reason to flick because we're already on top of the McCree. So watch flicking because you're flicking with your pulse bomb when we're on top of McCree and we're doing this like really dramatic like swing of our crosshair. And then that's probably going to do more harm than good, just making it go off in the Narnia.
Yeah.
30 seconds remaining.
Assemble and dislocate. Group up here.
Alright, have we in the past gone over survivability at all? Oh, yeah, I think we did 2 sessions ago, so our first session together.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, and then that first session we did, we're on Tracer, so I think survivability may be coming up into play a little bit in this, so it's kind of the same stuff. Dying's bad, uh, there's, a lot of reasons that cause it. We're at 9 minutes, being like, go back for a second here, just count them
Ready
out
for battle.
real quick. Let's see, we can go to 10-second view. Okay, we can skip around and see just how many times do we die. Okay, so let's go through. Did we die back here? I guess he never
think
died.
I
No, no.
died.
Yeah, you didn't die. You didn't die for a good bit at the beginning. Okay, so that's death 1. Right here.
Double kill.
That's death 2. Three. 4. And this is 5. Then we're gonna go up to the ash. That's 6. Then we're gonna die here, which is 7. 8. Okay, next round. Okay, let's count through. That's almost died, but we're good. Okay, looks like we stay alive a decent bit here on Soldier. That's good. 9, or sorry, yeah, 9. There you go. Then let's see, do we die again? 10. Okay. And that's it. Okay, so 10 times in like 16-minute game. Honestly, not too shabby. I think we pull it around on that second round. It looks a lot better on the second round.
Yeah.
But it still some preventable deaths that could be happening, especially in this first round. We end up dying a lot, so want to look to prevent deaths from happening. Right. 1 second. I have to clear my voice real quick. All right. So as a reminder, 4 main things that cause deaths: 1, poor positioning; 2, lack of awareness; 3, misuse of abilities; and 4, over-aggression. So we're having maybe a couple of those coming into play, and then we're dying as a result of them. So we want to be careful and making sure we're trying not to die.
All right.
So here against the McCree, we're dying to maybe we're getting within his range. We have recall, so maybe some misuse of abilities. We also have maybe some mechanical failure with the pulse bomb miss, and then maybe over aggression in their spawn.
Assemble and dislocate. Group up here. Assemble and dislocation.
10 seconds remaining.
On the attack.
Observe the barrier.
Uh-oh. So here, probably just want to be checking our corners. Right? This is especially a common thing in other games such as Valorant and CSGO. Just want to make sure that, like, pretty much every time you're walking into a new area, that you're checking around your surroundings, right? You're checking left, checking right. It's especially prevalent in those games because you can get like one tap so easily, and people like to hide in the corners. But in Overwatch, it's pretty much the same thing, same concept. Hog can one tap you here, and if we're not paying attention, then it gets us. So as we're coming in, we want to come in here, look, do quick left, right. Okay, we're going to come in here. We're going to check the top real quick. We can see Hog's little foots. Therefore, we don't walk this way. We can see him before we're even walking in. He doesn't really have a great angle on us, and we can still see him here. We can see his red outline, and that tells us not to go in that room. So just check up there real quick before you're pushing. When you do walk in the room, just make sure you glance up real quick, glance down, right? You can see that as you're walking in. So really, you're just glancing up, glancing down, walk in, keep your crosshair this way, right? So it's that sort of idea, and that way Hog's not jumping on us. Really, here is just awareness, paying attention, keeping our crosshair in the right place.
Ready for. For your own safety, stop the payload.
Here it comes.
Enemy visually confirmed. For your safety, please move behind the barrier.
Get them off me.
Error detected.
Nice finisher.
Eyes on the bad guys.
Only gets better with age. Good choice.
Alright, so Helix rockets. How do you want to use Helix? So when it comes to Helix, you have a couple different ways to use it based off the situation. So, you have really two different ways that you use Helix. Either you can use it as an opener, right? You shoot and then your Helix, then shoot, or you can use it as a finisher, shoot and then Helix. Right? Those are your two ways to use it. The way that you use it is usually going to depend. And then, sorry, I'm cutting myself in half here. And then basically the difference between the two is your range. Typically, you also have like a side, other side usages. Like you can use it as a as like spam damage, right? For example, but usually the two primary uses are finisher and initiator. So typically it's going to depend on your range. When you are close range, you want to use this as a finisher. If you use this as an engager, when you are near someone, so you hit them with it, then the issue is that you hit them with it and does all the damage up front, and they have that last little bit of HP to run away, to get heals, to go and do whatever. It puts them into critical, wee woo, let me escape, let me do something. So, for example, you hit Soldier with it, he ran around the corner, he's safe. But typically people aren't in that extreme runaway phase if you hit 2 shots on them, right? When you hit 2 shots on the person, right, they're not going to immediately use all their abilities. They're not going to run away and get around the corner. They're not going to be running around trying to get healed. And then what we can do is use Helix to burst down the rest of that HP, all the rest of that HP, and now they're instantly dead. They don't have time to go and get heals. They don't have time to go and get that stuff. This is called just burst damage. The faster you burst someone down, the less likely they are to actually get away from you because they don't have time to react, right? It's insta-kill. And when you're helixing as an initiator, then that means that you just give them extra time to get away into escape from you. Now, the issue is that the further away you go, you can no longer effectively use it as a finisher for 2 reasons. Firstly, from back here, you're going to be a lot less accurate, so it's not as guaranteed as a finisher because you're much further away. It's more likely to miss. But then also as a travel time, so it's going to be a really slow burst. If we went pew pew, we went bang bang helix, it has a slow follow up. So they have, once again, more time to react. So at a range, now you're going to want to go, you're going to want to helix and then shoot, and then all that damage arrives there all at the same time. So it now, once again, acts as a burst. So helix, shoot, shoot, and it all happens all at the same time. And that's how you can burst people down at a range. And then if you miss helix, then you just hit the shots normally and it's fine. The range that you're gonna do that at is a little fluctuant. I'd say maybe around like 20 meters or so is where is the kind of difference between the two. It can probably give or take 5 meters. It is within that ranging is where you're going to swap between the two. Does that make sense on how you're going to use Helix?
Yeah, okay. I get that.
Yeah. As of the moment, I would say most of your helixes so far look like initiators. You're just using it as soon as you see someone, right? Which isn't necessarily how you always want to use it. It's not how you don't want to use it, but you just want to be careful. It's a little bit, that you can, let's say you're like you're just spamming at them, like it's in between rounds. A lot of the time when you're spamming at people, it means that you're far away, right? That's the implication in a lot of cases when you're spamming. So you can just kind of toss a helix in there. It's not going to matter too much the timing of it because you're just getting in there for damage. Now, additionally, when you do helix, make sure you're aiming at people's feet. So you're going to aim head level for headshots, but then you go over helix and you're going to look down real quick. That's because if you're aiming here and you miss, go sailing past, you get nothing. If you aim at their feet and you miss, if you hit them, you get direct damage. If you miss them, then you get indirect damage and you still do stuff. Right? Bounces them up, you still do a bunch of damage, and you get value either way. So it's basically just makes it so that you get more guaranteed value out of it. So we'd go shoot, shoot, look down, helix, shoot, shoot. It's basically what it would look like. Or if we actually hit them, then we wouldn't even need the follow up at all.
All right.
Hopefully this third Dorado.
Traveling to Dorado, ready for battle.
Error detected.
Notice here, for example, right, how we open with the helix when he's still like full HP, and then he gets away anyways. Or sorry, he gets finished by Ash, which is a little bit different, but he would have gotten away if Ash had headshot him.
Damn it.
Nano boost almost ready.
Get it!
Okay.
Nano boost almost ready.
Get in there, Bob! All over me. Here it comes!
Yeah, so like there, for example, in the Zenyatta, you can just open that with a helix. Here at now this range, rather, now we're actually doing it a little bit on the opposite, where we're kind of mixing them up, because we're now, instead of helixing to engage like we did on the soldier a couple times, now we're shoot, 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 and then helix, and then watch how that just, firstly, is inaccurate, doesn't hit him, and then also it just would have been a really slow finisher. Also, it seems as though we may not be aware that the soldier's over there on the high ground, because we don't really seem to be giving him much attention here. Okay, noting that once again the opener with the helix, and then once again we open with the helix, and then he just kind of heals it off, and it's it doesn't really do very much, right? So we don't have to spend too much time on it, but that's just showing you a couple examples. Once again, we open up the helix. Okay, it doesn't burst all of his health down in one go. He goes, oh snap, I took damage, let me run, grab the health pack, and then he's good, right? But if you go pew pew, he's not going to grab the health pack after you shoot him twice. You helix, he bursts all in one go, right? It just acts much more efficiently as that finisher. Good dodging, good movement there.
I've got you in my sights.
Okay. Here, okay, so let's rewatch this for a second, right? So we're looking, soldier's coming around the corner, we're running away from him. Here, we have 3 of us. We could probably drop a health pack, turn around, and duel this soldier. It's a 3v1 currently.
Mhm.
So you guys together could probably melt for between mercy healing and your health pack. You could probably sustain and just shred him. So firstly, be aware of that. That's something to consider here. You could probably turn around to kill him, and then that means that now you keep better positioning. You also get a free kill on soldier, right? Now we do run away, and then the issue is that here we go and we blind visor. We have no clue where the heck anybody is. We dropped, and when we dropped, we also don't see anybody, right? We see a Sigma, and that's about it, right? We drop, we see Sigma. So now we're turning the corner and kind of blind visoring with nobody here, and this isn't really a great position to be visoring from. So just be aware of the visor. Make sure when you're visoring, you're not doing it blind where you don't even know who the heck you're shooting at. Not a wonderful angle to visor from because it's from the front where they can shield you off and whatnot. You're not on an off angle. Did we ever? I don't think. Did we like first session? Did we ever go over off angling?
We went over off angling in the second session.
Session one. Okay, so just make sure we went over the concept. Soldier
Mhm.
and Tracer are both off angle flanky characters, right? They can do
Yeah.
both. So they're just when it comes to visor, especially likes the off angle, but we're kind of doing it for main there.
Heroes never die.
Yeah, once again, Helix start, she immediately goes, "Oh, I'm in danger," fades away, and then we had to try to frantically look for the finish. And then she gets away, right? Say kind of same per usual. So that right there will probably help you secure a lot more kills once you start to get that down.
Yeah.
Double kill.
I think it's been like 6 or 7 kills, I think, that I've missed out on.
Yeah. Alright.
Double kill.
How not too sure what we get aggro here for. Do we
Yeah.
Double
I think we
I don't know either.
I think that you miss the fact that Moira dies here because we get Moira low, right? So we go pew 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 bang bang bang. We get Moira low HP here. She gets around the corner,
kill.
and then Ash kills her in kill feed.
Oh, maybe.
So here it looks as though we're trying to kill the Moira, who we think is 1 HP around that corner. So kill feed, a little bit of awareness. Really is the main thing. Plus, you probably don't want to be sacrificing like great positioning to put yourself in like this probably really bad positioning.
Yeah.
Awareness of
Oh,
hog.
I
Good.
think it might have been to touch cart. I think someone might have said touch cart. I don't know. Because people are moving the cart, I think, as I jumped down. I don't know. I'm not really sure why I dropped down there. Sorry, what were
Yeah.
you saying?
All good. Yeah, just be aware of hog. Right, watch him. Use cover. Don't drop from high ground unnecessarily. Watch hog and make sure we're not getting hooked. All right, so Tracer Soldier main points, quick review, wrap up. Soldier, we didn't talk much about sprint. Didn't talk a ton about health pack. I think maybe you didn't use health pack as much as you could have, question mark, but I can't recall off the top of my head. Main thing we talked about was Helix, right? 20 meters plus opener, sorry. Within 20 meters, then you're using it as a finisher, right? It's just acts well that way. And then besides that, let's see what else is there. That overall, that probably went to like a medium priority for you to work on, mainly because that's going to help you secure a lot more kills. Maybe you could say lower end of medium, somewhere between that. Visor, flank with it, right? Do it for. Don't do a blind visor either. Pulse bomb. Oh, sorry, and then back to visor. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead here. Visor. I only saw one visor. Low to medium priority for you to work on. Maybe higher end of that. Pulse bomb, don't flick with it unnecessarily. Make sure you're getting up on top of the person. The blinks were maybe a bit off where we're not getting directly in on top of them, right? So you gotta make sure you're watching that. Both times you're a little bit flicky with it, and then it just kind of went off the person. Put some effort into it. That one to maybe like a medium, lower end of medium. And then you have ability usage, try to make sure you're not getting aggro if you don't have it. Watch your recall, use them, don't die when you have abilities active. don't waste your ability. Sometimes they're still kind of running around and blinking when it's not necessary. So I think that's kind of the standard stuff that we've been going over with ability usage. I think it's better than it was, but still some consistency stuff that to work on with it.
Yeah.
Now, where were we?
Higher end of a low to medium, somewhere between that. Yeah. So that's all around. All of those are around the higher end of low to medium to the lower end of medium. Right. It's between that for all of the ability usage and ulti usages. Then you have mechanics. Mechanics. Not sure we talked too much on mechanics. Yeah, I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't think we talked too much on mechanics. Not too much of an issue. Low priority, somewhere within that. Positioning. Take high grounds. Don't drop unnecessarily from high grounds. Use cover. Take off angles. Take flanks and stuff like that. Which I think you did, for the most part, you did a good job of. Just certain situations where we, could have looked to stay on them and whatnot. Just continuing to work on that. Because it's, of course, Soldier and Trace are very off-angle characters, so you're doing it a lot. Overall, that probably went to, like, maybe just getting consistent with a lot of that. Maybe, like, higher end of a medium. Also, making sure that you're just rotating to the best positioning possible in between fights, just preparing for them. Cut down on some of the rotation times. Sometimes, like, we did that long flank round on Soldier rather than just immediately going high ground. Like, we could have, I don't know, like, we had something where we could have just gone straight up and then we, like, ran under and around and then ran up. So it was a little bit weird of a wraparound, and then that just takes extra time. Stuff like that, right? And then finally, awareness. Awareness, pay attention to just your surroundings. Where's my team? Where's the enemy team? What's happening with audio awareness? What's happening? Watch the Mercy who's rezzing. Pay attention to team compositions and how they dictate your playstyle. Just generally paying attention to your surroundings. Watch health bars and the like. All of that probably goes to around the medium priority or so for you to work on. So just a lot of things wrapped up around the medium that all add up together. Yep, that's pretty much where we're at. So to put that all in order, not a massive difference between a lot of it. Probably number one goes to probably, let's put it, positioning, and then comes awareness, and then comes probably your ult usage, and then your ability usage, and then your mechanics. Kind of a little bit in that order.
All right.
Yep. And then on I'd say on Soldier, swap it or put the Helix usage a little bit higher on that list.
All right.
Just get a little bit better on that. Any questions?
1 second. Sorry, I was tripping. I can't really think of anything. I usually have a lot of questions. I can't really think of any questions that I have.
You don't
Okay.
go to war with me.
Let me think, see if I have any. I guess kind of just like one thing I've been kind of doing is in like tracer duels, I guess. What I'll do is like I'll shoot half of my mag and then I'll blink melee, and then I'll finish off the rest of the mag and then I'll blink. I saw some people doing that in the tryhard free for all, and it was like really hard to deal with. I thought, and from what I can tell, it does work. And I've heard that's like, I've kind of heard people talk about it's like the timings of like a 1v1. So like different heroes have different timings on like when they use their abilities and stuff like that. So tracers, it was like shoot half your mag and then blink melee or something like that. And then from what I can tell, I mean, I win a lot of my tracer rules that I get into in game from just kind of doing that and playing around health packs.
Should have kept your head down.
Do you like? Would you say that's kind of good to just like blink melee, like that's not a finish?
So when it comes to that, that's honestly not something that I've heard of too much. But I guess I wouldn't doubt it. So if we do half a mag is I think enough to kill a tracer, right? So, but let's say we're like, we're missing some shots, right? Half a mag, blink melee, and then you finish the other half of the mag. I'm trying to think. What have people explained? Like, what is supposedly the effectiveness of that? Like, is
So no one has like explained like, oh, this is the combo, but I've seen people do it. I've played against people who've done it. And there's usually a blink after the first melee, and I'm guessing what the whole thing is if you guys are both tracers are shooting at the same time, they're gonna have to go for a reload at a certain point, and after you blink melee, that's when the other tracer is gonna reload, and then that's when you can blink to the side or whatever, and pretty much just kind of stand still and just finish the rest of the mag, and it usually works. Sometimes.
So blink melee. Oh, I messed that one up. But you do have a clip. Blink melee. Wait for them to reload, and then and then you go for the rest of it.
Yeah,
That's the idea?
yeah, that's what I've noticed. I mean, I haven't really found anything like that for other heroes because it's kind of dependent on like the Tracer's magazine. Um, but I generally don't blink melee like into any heroes that I can't finish because like Soldier, he'll just Helix Rocket, Hanzo, it's just free headshot, McCree, Flashbang, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But
I
for
mean,
Tracer, I found that to like
feel
work.
feel free to I mean, if it's working for you, man, I mean, keep trying it until it doesn't work. You can also look up gameplay on more pro tracers and see like, okay, when they get into a tracer 1v1, how do they approach it? Are they doing stuff like that? And you can kind of look for that. Or I mean, that could just also be your personal styling. That if it works, man, keep doing it. Like I said, I mean, like if you're finding success with it, I wouldn't see a reason to stop it.
Let's try that again.
Yeah, I saw I Sinatra
Hmm.
saw him talk about he doesn't really do the exact same thing, but what he would do is he would shoot and both people would be shooting at the same time and then he'd blink and then he'd like stand still. It was really weird, but he would do it against like, other GM high level tracers and I would see him just absolutely roll with it. So that like, I don't know.
Nothing's
Okay.
gonna stop
I mean, yeah, I don't have an opinion either way on that.
All right, well, that's all.
Alrighty.
Thank you. Yeah,